to a new episode by Flyboys Aviation. This episode is about vanished airplanes. You all know the story of MH370, the airplane that disappeared mysteriously more than 4 years ago and despite numerous search efforts hasn't been found since. It seems incredible that an airplane can simply disappear from the face of the earth. However, it has happened before. This video delves deeper into a few fascinating stories of vanished airplanes. Let's take a look at this together. In the pioneering days of aviation, records were being set at a breathtaking pace. Amelia Earhart was one of the few female aviators of those days. In 1937, Earhart attempted a round-the-world flight in a Lockheed Electra. It was not the first round-the-world flight, but at 29,000 miles hers will be the longest to date. On her second attempt she set off from Miami with her navigator Fred Noonan. After numerous stops in South America, Africa and Asia, she arrived in Lae, New Guinea. There they took off for a flight to Howland Island, some 2,500 miles away. Somewhere during this leg of their journey their airplane vanished without a trace. Since no wreckage or remains of their bodies have ever been found, numerous theories have been put forward as to what happened to the airplane and its occupants. The most plausible theory is that they simply ran out of fuel, had to ditch at sea and perished. It has also been suggested that they landed on Gardner Island, about 350 miles from Howland Island. Human remains found there were claimed to be those of Earhart, but this has been disputed. Some said they were captured by the Japanese on the island of Saipan. This is extremely unlikely, however, since this is 2,700 miles away from Howland Island. A ludicrous theory that she survived and assumed a new identity and lived the rest of her life in New York was also proposed. In more recent times, the strange disappearance of Varig Flight 967 in 1979 has puzzled aviation historians. The Boeing 707 cargo aircraft carrying a crew of 6 disappeared en route from Tokyo Narita to Rio de Janeiro Galeão Airport via Los Angeles. The aircraft lost all radio contact 120 miles from Tokyo and 30 minutes into the flight. Here too, no wreckage or remains of bodies have ever been found. Interestingly, this aircraft was carrying paintings from a famous Brazilian artist. They were worth a total of $1.24 million. Some say the valuable paintings were somehow hijacked. However, none of these paintings have resurfaced since 1979. Another theory put forward states that the aircraft was carrying the disassembled parts of a MiG-25 that was captured after a Soviet pilot had defected to Japan. The US wanted to transport the aircraft back to the US to examine it there. To avoid suspicion, they hired a foreign civilian airline to transport the disassembled parts back to the US. The Soviets caught wind of this, however, and shot down the aircraft. The bizarre disappearance of a Boeing 727 in Luanda, Angola is the final mystery discussed in this episode. An American called Ben Padilla was tasked to fly to Angola in April of 2003 to repair a Boeing 727 that had been on the ground for many months. Padilla was a certified flight engineer and a private pilot. Together with Air Gemini, he finished the repairs. The aircraft was supposed to be delivered to the new owner in Johannesburg, South Africa. Then, in the evening of the 25th of May 2003, he boarded the aircraft together with a mechanic from the Republic of Congo called John Mutantu. With no lights or transponder turned on, he took off without permission in a southwestern direction. Neither the men on the aircraft nor the aircraft itself have been seen since. Since this was not long after 9/11, the US was afraid the airplane would be used for terrorist attacks. That's why the FBI and CIA searched for the aircraft for a considerable amount of time. No trace of it was ever found. It was believed by some that the airplane was stolen by the owners themselves in order to claim insurance. Others believe it landed somewhere in Africa and was stripped for parts or used by other parties. Whether or not Padilla and Mutantu flew out of Luanda Airport voluntarily or were being forced to remains uncertain. I'm curious what you guys think about these disappearances. Which theories do you believe in? Are there any more strange disappearances you have heard of? Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. On my channel you will find a new video every week that delves deeper into the fascinating world of aviation and offers you new insights. See you around!